One right behind you.
Aquatic wildlife or untamed forest beasts. Our world is full of amazing animals with the most unpredictable attitudes. From the astonishing ocean leviathans to the fierce creatures of land. Hold on to watch the most unbelievable wildlife encounters ever recorded. Humpback heavy landing. A group of tourists, while watching some humpback whales breaching off the coast of California in 2015, were able to record the most unbelievable sight of their lives.
I got him on video.
Swimming around the kayaks was a 100,000-pound whale that suddenly jumped out of the water and landed right next to a kayak, throwing a massive splash of waves onto the boat while sending the kayakers underwater.
I got him on.
Fortunately, that was just the worst part, as after a heavy dip, they were able to come out and no one was harmed during this unexpected incident, and the couple was all fine to tell the tale of the heavy whale. Almost swallowed. If that clip didn't shock you, I'm sure this one will. Filmed a few years back, also in California, was a lady floating on a surfboard without having any idea of the enormous humpback whales lurking near her. Although the lady was minding her own business, the whales had other plans, as the hefty fellows suddenly popped out of the calm waters with their mouths wide open. Apparently, it looked like the lady ended up on the lunch menu for the whales, but miraculously, she was not the target. The mammoth jaws closed after capturing fish from the surface, leaving the lady shocked and unharmed in the background frame. Dolphin high jump. A heart-stopping incident took place in Florida when an aquatic mammal decided to jump out of the water.
See my pictures? No. Ah, what is that?
This unbelievable sight was captured on a video by a lady and her friend, who were attempting to take photos using scenic bayshore as their backdrop, where two paddleboarders were enjoying their day.
Oh my gosh, I think I've been on record this entire.
Just when one of the ladies set her position for the photo, a dolphin in her background jumped out of the water and leapt over one of the paddleboarders.
No. Ah, what is that?
Fortunately, no one was injured during this unexpected jump, and the dolphin quickly landed back in the water without even touching him. Pod of humpbacks startled kayakers. What could be more terrifying than finding yourself right next to a feeding frenzy?
Oh my God.
While staying 100 yards away from the feeding area of humpback whales, a couple of kayakers were hoping to capture a few rare glimpses of them.
Oh my God, you see that?
But to their surprise, they were already in the center, as two pods of humpbacks hanging out off the North American coast decided to surround the boat.
Surrounded by them.
Breaching fearlessly, the weighty mammals suddenly broke through the surface with their wide-open mouths, leaving the onlookers shocked, who were considering themselves to be almost swallowed by the humpbacks. However, the hefty pod, after offering a rare close-up encounter, gulped down with mouthfuls of tons of fish. Great white versus cage diver. Imagine how it feels to be enclosed underwater, where you're an easy target for the danger lurking nearby. To test the attitude of great white sharks, a guy decided to jump into shark-infested water while staying inside a powerful metallic cage, complete with safety measures. Right after the cage was dropped, an 18-foot-long shark appeared out of nowhere. Shy at first, gradually its confidence grew, and it began to close the gap and puncture the floater bag with its sharp teeth. But fortunately, it didn't proceed any further and left the guy unharmed, trapped inside the sunken cage. lifted by whale. This time, not a terrifying but playful encounter was witnessed by a group of kayakers who were paddling off the coast of Argentina a few years back. Sailing close to the breaching, majestic giants, the couple literally had no idea to have an experience of a lifetime. As they were approaching, the heavy calls of whales were becoming more and more clear. Upon covering the distance, one of the whales moved slowly under the kayak after rolling over and lifted the boat on its back. The two very surprised humans on its back were taken along for a ride, but they managed to keep their cool as the giant mammal showed its gentle side and unhandled the boat after a surprise tour. Tiger shark chewed paddleboard. Not every creature lurking nearby will offer you a ride. Some are just there to ruin your day.
Oh, what?
Last year in May, a guy, while paddleboarding, had a close encounter with a tiger shark that was actually aiming at a sea turtle for its meal. But distracted by the guy, the shark couldn't keep hold, and the shelled critter managed to escape the deadly jaws. Unexpectedly, the predator turned back and grabbed the paddleboard with its powerful jaws and sent the rider underwater. Thankfully, the guy remained safe and managed to climb back onto his paddleboard, but the shark left the board with teeth marks as a soft reminder to never come between the predator and its prey. Before we move any further, like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon so you can keep watching our amazing content. Dolphin knocked down paddleboard. A few years back in April, a guy, while paddling off the coast of Western Australia, had the craziest encounter of his life. He was drifting against the ocean waves when suddenly a pod of 20 dolphins sped toward him. Apparently, they were hunting for fish when all of a sudden, one of the aquatic mammals leapt out of the water and directly bumped into the standing-up paddleboarder, sending him flying into the water before swimming away. Fortunately, the man didn't get injured and managed to climb back onto his board, but was taught a lesson that he was going the wrong way on a one-way wave. Sperm whale rescued. Not all heroes fly. Some of them swim as well. 2 years back in Mauritius, a 32-foot-long sperm whale was discovered with its lower jaw forced wide open as 2 ropes were wrapped tightly around its huge mouth, with one of the ropes tied to the sea floor. But before things took a worse turn, a guy was able to swim close to the frightened mammal and worked quickly to remove the metal clamps between its teeth by cutting the rope around the whale's jaws. It took an excruciatingly long 6 minutes, but the whale was dragged out of the risk of drowning. Thankfully, enough of the rope was cut, and it floated to the surface in pieces as the whale descended back into the deep. Orca chased paddleboat. While boating off the coast of San Diego, California, 2 fishermen noticed some sea mammals swimming alongside their boat.
Right under us, still. Right there.
Thinking of the playful dolphins, they decided to cover the distance. But soon, the assumed dolphins turned out to be killer whales, who, after discovering the boat full of humans, started chasing them at full speed. Sometimes jumping out, while other times swimming under the water, the pod of 30 killer whales was heading for their boat.
Oh, dude!
However, despite their large numbers, the orcas didn't cause any harm to the fishermen, and after a few minutes of an orca show, they swam back to their deep habitat. Touched by a great whale. Next on the list are the stomach-churning moments that could be the worst nightmare of any diver. Unaware of the upcoming danger, a diver was snorkeling deep in the greenish waters of South Africa back in 2017, when suddenly, out of nowhere, a great white shark emerged with its jaws open to grab the diver, not very far away from its range. The diver quickly pulled down his head to avoid the deadly attack, and the underwater predator swiftly swam forward after missing its chance to bite. Certainly, it was a lucky day for the diver, as he remained unharmed. Or perhaps the great white shark just wanted to warn the irresponsible diver to stay away from his territory. Dolphin landed on the boat. A group of people on a boat excursion were joined by a pod of dolphins jumping on the ocean surface to provide an incredible sight to the sea visitors. But suddenly, something really unexpected happened when one of the dolphins decided to jump and instead of landing back in the water, accidentally fell into the boat. Panicked and confused, the lost mammal started flapping its body, creating terror among the dolphin watchers. Wet clothes were used to keep the dolphin hydrated, and after getting more helping hands, the distressed and heavy mammal was released back into the ocean to continue its adventurous journey. Octopus engulfed scuba diver. While exploring the reef walls off the coast of British Columbia, a couple noticed a giant Pacific octopus camouflaging with the ocean floor. Just when one of the divers tried to take a closer look, the octopus began to move, extending its tentacles to grab the invader. It seems like this intelligent guy is able to detect the vulnerability of the creature lurking nearby, as it quickly started locking the diver and attempted to take off his breathing regulator. But before its grip got further strengthened, the other diver decided to unlock his fellow. Although it took some time, the diver was released, and both the human and the creature remained safe during this most unbelievable encounter. Napping seal attacked. A few months back in San Diego, a group of cliff divers was out to enjoy a day when one of them decided to jump into the ocean. After diving down, he tried to make his way up to the other cliff without having any idea of a sea lion who was already occupying that rock. The guy mistook the sleeping animal as a wet rock until the sleeping yet alert sea lion woke up to defend its territory, scaring the diver off, and it started making warning calls to keep the invader away.
Oh my God.
The confused guy stepped back and decided to use another cliff to climb back again, as the angry sea lion was not ready to allow anyone to use its very own cliff. Hippo chasing boat. Not every time an aquatic creature, but sometimes semi-aquatic mammals are also responsible for ruining an adventurous day. 2 years back, a hippo was calmly enjoying a lake in Kenya when a group of tourists went out on a ride in the same lake. Seeing the boat, the hefty mammal leapt forward by making an angry guttural sound and started chasing the boat at a speed of 5 miles an hour. Diving in and out of the water, the angry hippo forced the outsiders out of its territory. With hearts beating like drums and completely dry mouths, the riders managed to keep their cool, and thankfully, they quickly managed to escape, as they were riding a speedboat. Man halted charging elephant. Now this is actually some nightmarish stuff. Filmed a few years back in a wildlife sanctuary in Thailand, this clip shows a man standing still, looking at something hiding in the nearby granary. All of a sudden, an elephant charged towards him from behind the trees. But astonishingly, the man stood calmly. Instead of running away, he stepped forward to scare the enormous animal simply with the wave of his hand, as he could be seen extending his hand in a hailing motion. Amazingly, the elephant complied and let out a huge shriek after watching the man's hand and turned back to run away. King's Raid. Show me something more terrifying than this. A group of safari tourists thought themselves lucky after spotting a stunning wildlife hunting and started to record the most unbelievable moment of a lion feasting upon his giant catch. But it seemed like the big cat was not happy to be filmed, so it warned the onlookers with a silent yet frightening roar. When this didn't work, it suddenly pounced towards the people, but stopped quickly as it was behind a fence. Although the fence was very thin, flimsy, and not very high, it luckily prevented the lion from proceeding any further. Otherwise, it certainly would have torn the cameraman into pieces. Elephant spoiled pool party. Either this elephant was thirsty, or it just wanted to spoil this pool party. This insane moment of a giant wild animal was captured a few years back when a group of safari tourists were enjoying a pool party in the middle of a jungle in Botswana. Suddenly, a huge elephant came out of nowhere, and without noticing the humans inside the pool, it started drinking water from it. While the swimmers could be seen still and shocked to see the unbelievable action of the elephant, luckily the pool water was not chlorinated, and after quenching its thirst completely, this wild mammoth made its way and walked back without causing harm to anyone. Scary trail encounter. This might be the most terrifying moment of one's life.
I'm going away. I'm going away.
This shocking encounter with a mountain lion on a trail was filmed by a man while he was hiking a cliff in Utah. Found he was being stalked by a mountain lion that suddenly started hissing to show its anger.
I'm going away. I'm going away.
Although the guy tried to keep the lion calm, the animal seemed overprotective toward its cubs. Thankfully, the guy managed to escape the chasing beast, but according to him, these 5 minutes were the most horrific moments of his life. Surrounded by tigers. While enjoying a safari ride in the middle of a wildlife sanctuary, a group of tourists had the most terrifying confrontation of their lives. Right in the middle of the woods, a wild carnivore came out to investigate their vehicle. Noticing the approaching tiger, they became still while managing to record the striking moments. Frozen in fear just to watch the wildcat investigating their ride. The tiger decided to walk away to meet the other visitors. As just when the cameraman looked behind, he found another tiger walking towards the car. But thankfully, it didn't take much interest in the car and walked away. Charged by bison. Not every time a large animal will ignore the presence of an outsider. This heart-stopping incident took place last year in a national park in the USA. A bison was minding its own business when a group of curious visitors decided to bother it. Although tourists are warned to keep their distance from wildlife, a family got too close to an already angry bison and caused it to charge a little boy who was standing on the boardwalk. Fortunately, the boy was able to outrun the beast and narrowly escaped with his life. Crazy gorilla. The video was filmed during a forest expedition when a group of tourists was out to meet the giant apes in Rwanda, who were not very excited to see their close relatives. At first, the gorillas appeared quite calm. Then suddenly, one of them thumped its chest and rushed towards the group, scattering them away.
Come this way. Don't worry. Don't worry.
After showing its dominance, the giant primate decided to return back. But before moving back to the wild, it knocked down a lady and shoved her to the floor by grabbing her clothes tightly. But fortunately, the lady remained safe as the wildlife rescuers immediately sprung into action and managed to release her from its powerful grip. It's time for today's open discussion. This image of a humpback whale with a man right in the center of its jaws might seem disturbing to many of you, and for others, it might be a masterpiece of Photoshop. However, this terrifying encounter was actually captured 3 years back in California when 2 whale watchers, in a desire to get a closer look at a humpback, violated its boundary. Suddenly, things changed when a huge humpback appeared on the surface to overturn the boat and almost swallowed a couple of kayakers. But as the video ended suddenly, many netizens claimed that the guys were swallowed completely. However, later, the nearby witnesses made it clear that no one was harmed during the incident, and both the kayakers just tipped over and were able to escape a deadly end. Thank you very much for watching the video. Do like and share it with your friends. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to not miss any of the upcoming amazing videos. Thank you once again.